Well, from time to time in the past, I've been able to say no expense has been spared to bring you the moment and the story of the moment. Well, I can tell you I'm in Venice, yes. Well, think about it, canals and glassworks, Venice. But we're in the Venice of the North to tell you the latest regeneration story. Aye, we're in Maryhill. That's the Glasgow Maryhill, of course, and the whole area owes its existence to the building of two mighty canals in the late 17th century, and they in turn made it the pulse point of this city. You're going to hear the word regeneration a great deal in this programme, starting with the canal itself. Being able to navigate through here now is a result of the largest canal regeneration in the world. It's an impressive 35 miles long with 39 locks. And just above the canal is a community garden that we have come to help out with. And it's a regeneration project in the midst of a whole area of regeneration.
Right in the midst of Maryhill is this impressive piece of engineering, which is of course the Kelvin Aqueduct. It carries the Forth and Clyde canals on 4 graceful arches over the River Kelvin, which is just over there 75 feet down. When built, this miracle of 18th century engineering and architecture was regarded as a wonder of the world. Today you can still walk or sail along it. Hello!
This beats Shanks's pony.
You get the good jobs.
The next one's no for 2 days.
Oh. Maryhill itself is a large, previously highly industrial area of Glasgow. It's some 7 miles long and it's home to around 50,000 people. The area is undergoing a programme of massive regeneration, and where old tumble-down buildings have been demolished, new state-of-the-art buildings have been going up. This is Branston Court. First opened its doors in 1988 and recently fully refurbished by Y People to provide accommodation and support for up to 50 vulnerable people whose lives have been affected by homelessness. As well as providing residents with safe and stable accommodation, Y People staff also support them in learning the life skills which will allow them to move on and integrate back into the wider community. Working alongside Y People and the British Trust of Conservation Volunteers, the residents drew up plans and secured funding to create a small communal barbecue area and a vegetable patch. And from those initial thoughts, the plans grew and grew until they took over the entire site at the back of Branston Court. This very ambitious project is being supported by the Garden for Life Forum through Scottish Natural Heritage, an initiative that invites you to go closer to nature. There is much to be done, but first George is talking to Debbie Fraser, whose role is fundraiser for Y People, and she's also the driving force behind this whole community garden.
So where did you get the idea from for this?
Well, when I joined as fundraiser in 2009, one of my first tasks was to really visit all the services that we have and to see what type of funding they were looking for. And I happened to be in Edinburgh one day at one of our services there, and I met a gentleman called Michael who had been in a cycle of homelessness. And within that service they had got some funding to do up a very small garden, and Michael was sitting in the garden on a bench and he was listening to music. And the lovely plants and flowers all around him, and you could see he was calm and he was enjoying that experience. And I just wondered where would he have been if the garden wasn't there. Then I came to see Branston Court and saw this vast area and thought we have to do something with it.
Okay, so what do you want this to achieve?
Well, it's not about myself, it's more about the residents, and they've been involved really from the beginning, and it's their ideas of what they would like to get out of the garden. And I think, you know, we try and help them through this difficult period of their lives when they come to us to learn life skills. And within the garden, they'll be able to learn how to plant and grow. They'll be doing cooking on the barbecue and really the healthy side of things. But also we're now multicultural in this particular project, and we want to build a community, and we feel rather than people being isolated in their own accommodation, this would give them a great area to come together.
So Tracy and Alan, you've been residents here for a while. Tracy, how long have you been here?
I've been here for 20 weeks.
Right.
So just over 3.5 months.
Gosh. And Alan?
I've been here for the start, been like the main man, Tracy here. Just making sure the residents are out volunteering and just having fun and making the garden look good.
Right. Now, what do you want the garden to do for you? What do you want from it?
Bring us all close together, get everybody to know each other a bit better as well.
Right. And you, Alan?
Just looking forward to it. Nice summer stay, all the residents get to know each other, chill out in the chill out area, work out in the gym, stuff like that, so it's going to be good fun.
Well, Lynn Harris is the garden designer on this project. You're a seasoned Beechgrove community garden designer. I'm always impressed how you come up with all sorts of requirements for people and how you fulfil those. What were the sort of special challenges here?
Well, this is quite a different garden for me because of the age group of the people involved in the community. The residents here are between 17 and 25, and I've never done a community garden for that age group before. And I mean, boy, did they have a wish list.
Big, long shopping list. So
Yes.
how did you fulfil that?
Well, in order to get everything that they wanted into the garden, I've actually divided it into lots of different zones, and I've called it the zone garden.
Okay.
So we've got lots of different areas to relax in. So we've got a patio garden, and right next to that we've got an area where they can grow herbs and things that they can use on the barbecue. We've got a deck zone, we've got a chill out zone where they can perhaps have some parties, and then we've got the sweat zone, which is an outdoor gym, which is a new one for me.
Yeah.
And finally, we've got the jump zone, which is a basketball court.
And you know, I didn't know Jim and George were quite so fit.
George, what are you up to?
Well, this is the jump zone. This is where you come to throw a few hoops.
Oh, I thought it was netball. Well, these zones are all joined by this path here, and you can see it's a little bit of work in progress at the moment. Lovely, healthy plants. They've still got to be planted, but with this rain, they don't need to be watered in at the moment. And then here are the girls.
Hi,
Lynn,
Carol.
what are you up to?
This is the sweat zone. What do you think?
Are you sweating in this weather?
No.
Can you go backwards?
Maybe.
And what are you doing?
I'm doing the twist.
Oh, good for the waistline. Leslie, I'm not sure about this.
Oh, I feel like a little bit of a deranged string puppet. I'm going to be so fit.
It reminds me of Spotty Dog, but I think I'm showing my age there. I think that was the wooden tops. Anyway, again, a little bit of work in progress with the wood chips. And Jim?
Calm down. You're in the important garden zone.
Oh,
More of that later.
Okay. And Carolyn again, are you having a little bit of a rest now?
I'm in the chill out zone. It's great, nice place to relax. This rubber polymer surface is going to get covered with AstroTurf, big oversized bean bags, a lovely little willow arbour that will grow up at the back. Nice place to cosy in.
That sounds wonderful. But now it's a big team outing because our George tells us that he's found an inspirational gardening project. And it's not far from here, so we're all going with some of the residents to find out a little bit more about that.
OK, so I've brought you all down to the middle of Postle Park, where you might think there's absolutely nothing. And I've brought you to the concrete garden, which sounds a bit strange.
Sounds like it's full of concrete.
Well, but it's not. Now, what you'll see here is something which I guarantee will blow your socks off. It's a fantastic idea, so come on.
Oh, these tomatoes look good.
You want that, yeah? Cucumber. It's like a cucumber. It belongs to the same family, but it's a courgette.
Aye, courgette.
So you could grow that maybe back in your garden, couldn't you?
Aye, yeah.
Well, if you can do it in a tire, then
Yeah.
it just shows how easy it is, you know?
Have you seen the bird feeders?
Yeah.
Just recycled cartons.
That's really good, isn't it?
Mo, as the community development worker here, what's the project all about?
Basically, it's sow and grow everywhere. It's an opportunity to use an urban space to allow the local community to grow their own fruit and vegetables, to feed their family and to get in the great outdoors.
So what we're looking at here, is this just one person growing this?
Yes, this is all the beds on the entire row here are taken up by members of the community who want to come along and grow their own foods.
Tomorrow? Yes.
Chives.
You obviously like the chives. Do you go to the chives a lot?
I eat them all the time.
Yes.
Now, Paula, I can tell straight away, looking at your hands, that you must be the gardener.
Yes, I am. I come along and give people advice and help them out if they've got any questions on what they want to grow in their plots, and when to eat things, when to plant them, things like that.
The aim is that everything is free for anyone, so we'll provide a starter kit, so to speak, and then they can add on to it as they wish.
There's peas, there's spinach, there's cabbage, there's radish. You could try that.
Oh, this is the first time I'm eating this. Because I thought that this is a flower to make the place beautiful. What people
But you
don't
can't eat them. You know, you can't eat flowers. And this is pot marigold. Good. So you could, you could do this at Branston Street, no problem at all. So this is a fantastic system, Catherine. How did it start?
It's a new project that was put together by NVA, and we're working with some really great partners to make it happen. We have been lucky enough to have Ertz design the beds, so they've been designed as a modular system, which means the gardens can kind of pop up as an instant garden.
So is this how it arrives on site?
That's right, it comes with soil, so it's ready to grow instantly and people can just get growing.
And the fence at the back?
Yeah, it's made from recycled timber by Glasgow Wood Recycling, so it's a great use of local materials that would otherwise go to landfill.
Right.
And it's really important that we help people sustain the quality of the soil, so lots of work around composting and using worms to...
So you give all this advice?
Yeah, it's fully
for
supported.
Free.
Just have a little bit because it's quite strong.
I
don't imagine you get a taste like that off a plant.
I know.
It's really nice.
Oh, you don't like it? No.
Bex, I notice obviously your compost bins, that's something dear to my heart. And do you have a sort of teaching process to tell new people that this is where the rubbish goes?
Well, what we try to do is every time somebody comes in, they get given a tour of the entire garden. And one of the things we do pop in is this. We only built it this year.
Yeah.
And we just basically say, if it's uncooked, chuck it in. If you're unsure, ask us. There's always somebody up in the office.
Yes,
And we just try and get people knowing.
A real good recycling story.
Yeah.
But listen, while I'm talking to you and listening, I'm seeing these boxes on that back wall over there.
Yes.
What's the story?
Well, I made a new logo for the concrete garden and made up a poster, and I went down to the Lush store and asked to put up the poster, and they said, by the way, we have all these black window boxes, would you like them? So I was like, of course, yes, that would be fantastic.
Do you find that that sort of attitude pervades the community? If you ask in the right way, you get help?
Yeah. More often than not, people are really wanting to help, especially when they find out you're doing it all for free.
There's a good feel about that, isn't it? Because it widens it out through the community and everybody knows, and you can deliver this free for the folk that most need it.
Yeah.
Do you like this one? Are you spitting the other one out?
No, I love this
you
one.
That one?
I love rocket. But it's just different, isn't it?
It's actually quite strong.
It is quite strong, isn't it?
I think that would actually complement a nice salad. So just that strong taste and a bursting through.
How long do you spend here in a week?
Me, probably 4 or 5 days.
Really? Just to keep this wee bit?
No, everything warm.
Yeah, in other words, it is really cooperative. You help with it.
Yep. Everybody helps me. Everybody else.
What about children?
We've got lots of children. A lot of the people who've got the plots have actually got young children themselves, so they come along all the time and they love to get to the watering barrels and water everything in the garden.
I bet they must love going to those barrels.
There's
That's
big
really
taps
super.
and they just sit underneath them with their buckets. It's great fun for them.
Well, recycling is the name of the game. Water is harvested from the roof of the little building here, and it drops down into these barrels. What a good idea. That is what is used for watering all the tubs and the greenhouse and so on. You've got to check if these are full. The smell lingers on.
Sometimes we have wee kind of picnics and we get together, make up a wee salad or something and
get the barbecue out.
Get the barbecue out. So we'll be doing a wee bit more of that.
Well, it's a real community feel. I think it's absolutely brilliant.
It's accessible to everybody because of the actual layout of the garden, the height of it. Anyone can come in, they don't get a sore back. Wheelchair access is perfect, so there isn't anyone who can't enjoy this space.
So meanwhile, back here at Branston Court, I'm getting these raised beds ready for planting. Now, when we first saw them at the Concrete Garden, we were so impressed, we decided we had to have them for the community garden here. And what we're doing, boys, is we're filling this with a mix of topsoil and compost, and it's recycled compost. And what we've got is we've got a 3-to-1 mix. We've got 3 parts screen topsoil and 1 part of this lovely recycled compost, which is very high in nutrients, from GP Green. That's great, boys, thank you very much. And what we're going to fill them with is some herbs and vegetables and things like that. And we've sent some of the residents off to the botanics to get some advice as to the sort of herbs that we can plant in here.
Assistant Curator Louise Bastard took residents Tracy, Alan and Marianne to have a look round the botanics herb beds, and is full of stories about their uses and origins.
This is another old British plant called tansy. Again, our ancestors in the past would add flour, milk and butter to that. Yep, with the leaves, and that would help with stomach ulcers or an upset stomach. This one is St John's wort, this yellow flower here. Now, let me take one of those leaves. Now, hold it up if you can look. Can you see up there towards the sun? In that leaf, it looks like it's got lots and lots of little pinpricks. Yep. Can you notice that? Well, inside those pinpricks, there's resin, there's goo. The resin in this plant is now used to treat people who suffer from depression. This is a very interesting one, another wild plant that's found throughout Europe, actually, not just Britain. The Latin Artemisia, and this has an incredibly bitter taste. Believe me, you don't even want to put a tiny bit on your tongue. But interestingly, it has a chemical in it that today is now being used to treat malaria.
Malaria is very common in Gambia, where I'm from.
Absolutely. And then yarrow, another native plant here, was a very useful one for heart disease that they used in the past. I should emphasise, these are things that have been used in the past. Never use a herb without asking a proper doctor first. You do have to be very careful.
So what sort of herbs can you take? Like, could we take back to Branston?
I would always recommend culinary ones, right, because most people will know about the culinary herbs. For example, this is garlic. Oh. Everyone knows about the garlic. Now, it depends how much space you've got, but this big construction is covered with hops. Now, I'm sure you're aware of what hops go into. That's what makes the bitterness in beer. Right. And they will cover an area like that, absolutely.
Take them back to Branston?
Well, we can certainly take some cuttings, no problem at all, and you can start making and brewing your own beer.
Well, meanwhile, back at Branston Court, what we're doing here is filling these large sage beds, and in particular, we're putting in some culinary herbs. Now, you were at the Botanic Gardens with Louise, and she was suggesting that, wasn't she, Alan?
She was, yeah.
So what we've done, we've got chives here, you know, which is oniony, we've got thyme, sage and rosemary, and we've put them in rows like this, so we've sort of made like a little mini potager or a pretty garden, and then we've got these nice planting spaces between.
And then what we're doing in the middle is putting in a plum tree, so you will eventually get fruit from that, but I think you're going to have to wait a year or two before that happens.
Now, what we're going to do here, we're going to sow some seeds, and these are a nice wildflower mix, really, really good for bringing wildlife in. Have you ever sown seeds before?
No.
The seeds don't know. It's OK. Put your hand out. Now, it's not just one variety. There's corn marigold, there's Phacelia in there. Now, if we sow these now, they'll come up as little plants, but they won't flower till next year.
All right.
Just want you to sprinkle it like that so you spread them out. OK.
Yep.
And the great thing is they're going to attract the bees and the butterflies, and they'll be good pollinators for the plum. Musa, you've sown seeds before, haven't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. What about planting plants?
Yeah, I try.
Yeah, well, if you want to put the strawberry in there. Now, these strawberries have come from Beechgrove Garden.
Yeah.
They're a lovely variety called
and I
Sonata.
like strawberry, it's very sweet.
Yeah, well, you tasted them, didn't you, at the Concrete Garden?
Yeah, in the Concrete Garden.
I'm afraid you're going to have to wait till next year before you get the fruit.
These are lovely, actually, aren't they? Because the ones we thought were the sweetest and produced the most.
Now, the other thing, we were talking about this as well, about propagating plants. Okay. And do you see that's a little runner with some roots on it? And if you push that into the soil like that, you'll eventually get another plant.
Another plant. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I think you're a real gardener, aren't you?
Very enthusiastic.
Yeah, very interested.
He's done this before.
Yeah.
Anna, since I came on site, I see nothing but these green T-shirts with a BTCV on it. What is it?
We're a group that go out with volunteers. We do conservation work in and around Glasgow.
Yeah. Where do you get the volunteers? Where do they, I mean, are they sitting at home doing nothing?
Well, some of them are, yeah, and it's a better opportunity to come out and do something with us and learn new things. All ages, all types of backgrounds, pretty much.
And I'm told you've been here since the start. I mean, really getting tore in here.
Yeah, right, right from the start. In all weathers it's been. We've done a lot. We've lifted turf. We've rotavated.
Have you, I mean, this thing here, I mean, did you create this?
Yes, we did, yeah. It's a living willow seat. The idea is that it grows, obviously the bits that grow we weave back in, but it's living and there's a grass top to it.
So we've got living willow here, it's going to come right up over the
Eventually, yeah, we're going to bring a few more bits in and up over the top, and there's going to be a nice sculpture sitting here, and we're hopefully going to frame that quite nicely.
Absolutely fantastic. I know for a fact that you guys do so much that a lot of projects would never happen if it wasn't for volunteers.
Yeah, oh, definitely, yeah. I couldn't do it without my guys, without a doubt, yeah.
Thanks.
Lynn, at the back of the garden, or at the top of the garden, is this woodland bed.
Yeah, well, what I've done is I've tried to borrow from the existing trees that are here and complement on this side with trees and shrubs. Very much a woodland border and very wildlife friendly. So we've got hawthorn over there, hawthorn here, I've added rowan. We've got loads of wildlife friendly plants, things for butterflies, for bees, loads of berries for the birds. And just quite big shrubs, things that don't need a lot of maintenance, and loads of ground cover as well.
Of course, when this all knits together, you'll be able to borrow some of the bigger trees behind.
Absolutely.
You won't see where the end of the garden is. I like the way as well with the herbaceous, you've picked it up, so you've got a rhythm going, you keep on repeating it.
That's right.
And then at the end of that woodland bed, there is a lovely patio.
Yes.
And this has got stone sofa on it, and then you look out on the most
spectacular
magnificent view over Glasgow. It's terrific. Now, Caroline's down at an area nearer.
This is the flower zone down here.
So I'm back in my comfort zone, which is of course the flower zone. And there's nothing nicer than having planting alongside where you're going to be walking. Taller things at the back like rhododendrons for spring colour, followed by hebes, and then these beautiful pink hydrangeas. And for lovely silver colour brachyglottis, which has got a great evergreen foliage. Things along the front to give us a little bit of ground cover, little pink geraniums, alchemilla mollis, that kind of thing. This is the very nearly finished chill out zone, and of course there's nothing more relaxing than the smell of rosemary, and if that doesn't chill them out, nothing will. Now, from a brand new and emerging garden to a more mature and certainly quieter garden, George has been off to visit Roddy Mungle, who's Why People's Learning and Development Manager.
So, Roddy, this is idyllic, isn't it?
It's a nice, peaceful place to sit.
It really is. And there's water, the sound of the water just makes it, doesn't it?
It does, that.
A mature garden, yeah. And what's lovely are the hydrangea at the top there, just at the door. There's this rock rose round at the bottom. That's looking splendid at the moment, isn't it? Bamboo. Just see the way the leaves on that just contrast with the bit of taxus, the yew tree there. It's just wonderful. The colours just merge.
Yes.
And then this.
Oh, and Montbretia here, yes, my favourite, really.
It's really good at this time of year, isn't it?
Beautiful colour.
Ah, absolutely. Now, that's all very well and good, but apparently you've got one or two wee problems.
Yes, a few wee things we could have some advice on, please.
Right. OK. Now, this is Picea albertina conica, and that's the ornamental form with this fine foliage, but this piece here is the original form, and that's growing out. So it's actually, see how different it is?
Yes.
So what we'll do is we'll prune that back like that. Now,
it's not going to leave a big hole, is it, George?
No, I'll cut it back gradually so that it doesn't leave a great gaping hole in it. And what will happen then is that the form you want will eventually cover that up.
Oh, right.
Now you've got something else that's a problem.
Ah, we have a wee apple around here. A wee apple around here, yes.
Right, I'm intrigued by this term wee.
Yes. Yeah. Well, you'll see right in the back there.
Oh, Criven's eye, look.
Yeah.
It is wee, isn't it? Which one is this?
It's a Braeburn.
Ah. Now, it's awfully peely-wally. I mean, this foliage is very, very yellow, and it's maybe got a magnesium shortage.
Yeah.
So what we'll do with that is we'll make it move, we'll give it some Epsom salts, because that's got magnesium in it, so that will sort that out.
Okay.
And then we'll put some sulphate of potash on it, which will ripen up the wood and get some fruit buds for next year, and hopefully we'll get more on it next year. Excellent. And then next year, give it a feed with what? Fish, blood and bone? Something like that in the spring. Like and that will really push it on.
Excellent.
Okay?
Okay.
Now,
smashing. Yes.
Something else?
There's a walkway that we have round here.
You've lost a walkway?
We've lost a walkway, yes.
Right, let's go and see if we can find it.
Aye.
This is a wonderful little sun trap, isn't it? But look, immediately you lean back on your seat. This is coming over the top of us and encroaching. This is supposed to be a dwarf willow.
It's going a bit giant, isn't it?
Isn't it? Right. So we could prune that back and we'll give it a bit of a shock, but it'll grow away again, I'm quite sure. Now, you'd lost a path. Where is it?
Well, it's along here, the secret path, as I call it.
I'm a wee bit anxious about it. I think all we need to do there is to cut some of the overhanging vegetation and just reveal it again.
Okay.
And that'll be the job done.
Absolutely right.
You didn't know you had that, did you?
No.
Yeah, that's a viburnum.
Aye.
There we are, eh? 5 minutes with the loppers, and there's what we've done.
It's fabulous, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Now, isn't it? We've actually found a little viburnum that you possibly thought you'd lost in there, so that's it. Yeah. Your path is found.
Oh, excellent. Thank you very much.
This fabulous sculpture by Rob Mulholland is obviously a leaf, but it's a newly emerging leaf, as you can see. It gives us beautiful organic sort of concave and convex shapes here. And all these little pieces, well, there's 1,000 of them, and they represent the cells that make up a plant. And you can see it shines wonderfully in the sunshine. Soon it's going to be framed behind me by Anna's willow arch. And also Rob's made another sculpture to sit in the garden, which is his take on the Why People logo. So finally, I have to mention this great little gazebo. It sheltered us from the rain all yesterday, the sun all today, and underneath it an extensive area of decking made out of plastic and rice husks, and it goes down very easily because I laid a lot of it myself.
I've been more impressed by these tables and benches made by Glasgow Wood Recycling. That tells you the story. Absolutely brilliant work.
And this artificial grass on the chill-out zone is superb. Wonderful example of a brilliant Scottish product. And it's bouncy.
It is indeed.
Yeah.
There's lots of brilliant planting here, and I particularly like all around this area, it's blocks of really bold single colours. Makes an exciting party space.
And this truly has been a great community garden project with so many helpers, including the residents. And if you'd like more information about this garden, or indeed the concrete garden, it's all in the fact sheet. And the easiest way to access that is online.
Next week, we're back in the garden. Carol and Leslie are revamping alpine containers. You're off to Glen Berby House Garden.
I am indeed.
And I'm tackling a problem corner in Burnt Island, a tricky wee slope. But until then, from all of us here at the new Why People Garden in Maryhill!
Bye!